Welcome to another episode of the Decatur Dish. And Dan, get off your phone. We're doing a show.
But all my friends live here.
I ought to lock up your phone. I really should.
You know who else is locking up their phone? Many of the youths in DeKalb County. DeKalb County, Georgia, DeKalb County schools. They are going to get pouches, and they're going to put their phones in the pouches, and it's going to block all the cell phone signals.
I hope that intro caught your attention for this topic.
Yeah.
A lot of parents.
See how we did that?
Yeah, a lot of parents talking about this. Obviously, mixed reaction because you have the students who feel like they should have autonomy over their phones, and teachers that are expressing frustration that they're disturbing or a disturbance in the classroom.
So Decaturish is corrupting the youth of DeKalb County because they're all reading us now because of the cell phone pouch thing. And they're starting to talk like really old people who read the newspaper. And one of the kids in the classroom said, you know, they've got $400,000 to spend on these pouches, but my roof still leaks in my school. And I just love it. If you want kids to read and watch the news, tell them you're going to take their cell phones away, and you'll get their attention, which is the whole point, right?
For those that are hearing about this for the first time, this one-year pilot program would involve locking up cell phones in the form of putting them in lockers or putting them in pouches. It is set to be implemented this upcoming year, 2024 to 25, for the following schools. And I'm just going to read the list really quickly. Salem Middle School, Henderson, Sequoia, Lithonia, Tucker Martin Luther King Jr. High School, Lakeside High, Cross Keys High, Lithonia High, and Tucker High. Miller Grove, Druid Hills, and Chapel Hill Middle Schools, those are the three schools that will have the locker set up.
Yes, that's correct. School board approved it last night, so other school districts have done this, so this isn't unique to DeKalb County schools, but they're finally dipping their toe in the water, seeing what that looks like, so hopefully we'll have some data from it this fall.
And hey, speaking of new policies and changes, let's talk about City Schools of Decatur new nutrition policy, because that came up in the news and it went a little viral for a minute. This new policy is taking a closer look at the meals that are going to be provided to these students.
Cheeseburger Gate revisited.
Yes.
Not cheeseburger, cheese sandwich, excuse me. I don't want to confuse my sandwiches. So last year or a few months ago, City Schools of Decatur talked about the unpaid lunch balances and how they were going to handle that. The kids who had not paid were going to be given an alternative meal of a cheese sandwich, and people were not very happy about that. I think primarily because City Schools of Decatur is seen as a well-to-do district that could easily afford to feed all the students. I think there's a lot more nuance to that because of federal funding formulas around school nutrition. Nevertheless, they're going to redo this policy. They're going to restrict some of the ability of the kids to buy a la carte items and burn through their lunch balances. And they're also going to do an alternative meal. They have not said what that will be. I suspect it will not be a cheese sandwich, but if they want to make me happy, it will be, because there's nothing that people like to read more about than cheese sandwiches at City Schools of Decatur. But we will see.
Well, cheese seems to be the topic around here because
right.
We are going to get into our next story, which I couldn't believe when I read it on Decaturish. By the way, a Kirkwood business accusing a customer of having a cheeseburger side hustle and basically reselling their burgers in their own parking lot.
Isn't America great? I love this country so
What
much
is happening?
sometimes. So, Evergreen Butcher and Baker in Kirkwood does a thing on Sunday where they make a limited number of these sort of artisanal cheeseburgers. I don't know exactly what they bake the bun special. They grind up the beef. There's all these fancy ingredients, and apparently it is a big to-do. So every Sunday there's a crowd that gathers for these limited edition artisanal cheeseburgers, and they limit it to 3 per customer. And what they were accusing this person of doing was basically gaming the system. This story cracks me up. Basically gaming the system. So they would go and they would get the burgers, and then they would upsell these $15 cheeseburgers in the parking lot for like 17, 18 bucks. That was the allegation. The person that they posted the picture of on Instagram said, no. See, what had happened was they had 2 friends that were going to show up with them to get the burgers. I mean, these are burgers you have to plan your day around. They're apparently just legendary. And his 2 friends bailed, and so he decided to sell them in the parking lot for a mere markup, of like $2 or $3. He accused Evergreen Butcher and Baker of being pretentious. They kind of went back and forth on Instagram. Said he had to change the license plate on his car because of the drama around it. And what else can you say about this story? This city is really amazing. That everybody's got a side hustle. This guy, to be clear, says this is not a side hustle. He was just making a couple of extra bucks
he saw an opportunity.
He saw an opportunity, like many of us do, and stepped in to meet a need, like many entrepreneurs. But apparently, that's probably the best marketing these cheeseburgers have had. I recently sold my business, but I have this Pavlovian thing where I keep wanting to create more businesses, and I need help for this problem. But I was like, I could just go to the McDonald's and I could just get a sack of Big Macs, and I could go to the parking lot of the Shamrock Plaza Publix next door, and are you tired of waiting in line at McDonald's? Or are you too lazy to wait in the drive-thru
Dan,
at McDonald's?
Can I start a newspaper in your front yard?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Just for a mere $1 more a subscription, so you don't have to go through the trouble of getting a Decatur subscription. But there you have it. You have cheeseburgers with a side of drama in Kirkwood. I just love this story. I wish we could keep it going forever, but alas, it has to end.
It cracks me up. I had to read it a couple of times. I recommend. You can see all of the back and forth on Decaturish.com. Please go check it out.
Late stage capitalism is fascinating.
It really is. All right, this is the Decatur Dish, so we like to bring on guests, community members to talk about the issues impacting DeKalb County, and we are going to be talking with Representative Billy Mitchell. Dan, I know you have a number of topics, both local and national, that you guys are going to be getting into.
Yeah, State Rep Billy Mitchell, House District 88, has been in the legislature since 2002, I believe. Was a Stone Mountain City Council member before that. Is a local radio personality, has his own show, has served on a lot of different committees. Very accomplished legislator. I covered the opening of the Biden campaign office on Saturday and ran into him, and we kind of did a little discussion about what we would talk about today. And let's listen to what he has to say. Representative Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're a busy guy. Let's get right into it. What is your take on the recent local election results in DeKalb County? What about the local elections surprised you this year?
Well, I will tell you that we had, when we talk about the chairman's, the CEO's race, we had 3 actually great candidates who would have done a good job, either one of them, had they won. Lorraine Cochran Johnson was the victor, and I have no doubt that she will be able to continue the kind of legacy that Michael Thurman started. DeKalb County has really been in some great hands the last 8 years, and I expect nothing less out of Lorraine as well.
So the interesting thing about Lorraine Cochran Johnson is she is a little bit outside of she calls it the machine. I don't know if it's that exactly, but she is a bit of an outsider. Would you agree with that?
I think that she was not in elective politics for a long time, and perhaps that's what she is recognizing. But the reality is, to be elected countywide, you have to have certain partnerships, whether it be with the community, the business, and the like, and I think that will serve her well.
What are you looking for out of her administration? What are you looking for in terms of what she does, what kind of team she's putting together?
I will tell you, the demands on DeKalb County is extraordinary. The increase in population, the diversity in the county, the kind of issues that they're going to have to be dealing with. We're talking about water infrastructure. We're talking about new members on the commission coming together. We've been talking about the tax base. So those are the kinds of issues that she's going to be confronted with. As I said, I think that I'm confident that she'll be able to do a good job, but that job is no cakewalk for sure. It'll take someone like a Lorraine Cochran Johnson to do the job, and I'm confident that she will.
So, Representative Mitchell, you and I bumped into each other over the weekend, and it was the opening of the Biden campaign office in DeKalb County. And I think what was surprising to everyone is that so many people showed up. You listen to all the talk that's happening in the national media, but you go to this event, and there was a line out the door. I couldn't get in. I think you were standing where I was. trying to get in. What's your read on that situation? Because it feels like there are two different conversations happening right now. There's a conversation at the national level about whether President Biden should step aside and let somebody take the nomination, or whether he should keep going. And then there's a conversation that's happening locally. What's your read?
Well, I will tell you, there's no question about it that he did not have his best night during the debate. And the questions that are being raised, I think they are legitimate questions that should be asked when you're talking about the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, inarguably the most powerful position in all the world. However, I must say that I'm a surrogate for the Biden campaign. It has been so this campaign and last. An appointee to the Biden administration, in fact. So I may be a little biased, but the reality is his work that he has done over 3.5 years has been so monumental. Even his critics, even his political opponents will admit that. So you can't compare that to the 90-minute debate that he had. The reality is the grassroots fundraising was at the record levels the day after the debate. The reality is all the polls, if you put all the polls together, there was literally no movement whatsoever. What we saw at the DeKalb opening is just what is going on over the state statewide. You know, he ran Georgia 4 years ago, and there was almost no investment in Georgia. Today, they've got about 78 full-time employees, about 8 offices. They're going to reach 120 some odd employees and about twice that many headquarters. Some of your viewers may know that 4 years ago it was difficult to get a Biden-Harris lawn sign. Today, I have so many of those that don't know what to do with them. So the reality is they have a full commitment. We have a full commitment for him to keep going forward. And even if they have to carry him in on a gurney, as they did a U.S. senator once a while back to vote, his record of accomplishment is just monumental.
Do you think he'll be the nominee?
I absolutely do feel that he will be the nominee.
So moving on, Billy Mitchell used to be how long were you on the Stone Mountain City Council, Representative Mitchell?
I was on the council for a term from about 98 until I ran for the legislature.
So Stone Mountain is a real interesting place politically. There's a lot of small town drama that goes on there. It seems to be sort of perpetual. And here of late, there seems to be a standoff between City Manager Darnetta Tyus and Mayor Beverly Jones. What's your read on that situation?
Well, you know, the very interesting thing about local politics, particularly small cities, as you mentioned, the reality, the federal government is like a cruise ship. It takes a lot of time and space for them to change direction. State government is not that much better. But local government, when I was on the city council, you know, I thought a particular vote would go one way. 3 or 4 people stand up and complain, and on a dime, we would change direction. And that's what you see here. When you walk out your door and you see your constituents, they have a lot of influence into what goes on, and everyone has an opinion, as you know. Most recently, the dynamics in the city has changed in that the city manager no longer reports to the mayor, but to the council as a whole. And I think they're just getting to adjust to that new form of government.
So Mayor Jones, at the meeting the other day, suggested a forensic audit of city spending, said it was her understanding that would be a cheap thing to do. Do you think that's going to be a cheap process and an easy thing to do?
In my experience, it has not been a cheap, inexpensive thing to do, and it's cumbersome as well. It's somewhat surprising to feel that they're in a position now where they even have to consider I'd love to know the circumstances by which they even have to consider a forensic forensic audit. So that's that's somewhat disturbing in itself. But as long as they're representing the people, serving the people, and things are done above board and openly, I think that we can get through whatever challenges that they have.
Last point on Stone Mountain. When I visit Stone Mountain, I see a few things. I see a really interesting downtown. I see a place that's walkable, although the road is maybe a little busier than some people would like. I see a lot of local businesses. In short, I see a lot of potential in downtown Stone Mountain, but I don't see that the city is capable of realizing it just yet. What does the city council need to do to unlock the potential that is within downtown Stone Mountain?
Well, I tell you, that has been one of their challenges for sure. I will say to you, I've been around long enough, even when I was on the city council, where the downtown Main Street was thriving. There used to be a store called Stone Mountain Handbags, and people would come from all over the nation, thought that was the keynote store of that franchise because of their synergy that they had with Stone Mountain Park. Stone Mountain Park itself is going through some transition, and it certainly has hurt the downtown city of Stone Mountain. I think that as we improve what's going on in Stone Mountain Park, we'll be able to have some partnerships, and I do see an insurgence, if you will, of new folks coming in and new business opportunities. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a investment in a entertainment center venue in the city of Stone Mountain, which I think will just do wonders for them, where they can bring in major entertainment and they can take advantage of the restaurants, which are extraordinary on Main Street in the city.
I may have missed that, although I probably shouldn't have missed that. Where's that going to go?
There used to be a property that the church owned, which was
Okay.
adjacent to the old city hall, and it's actually one of the nicest and prettiest properties in all of the city. The view of Stone Mountain itself is extraordinary. Well, the city just recently purchased that, and they wish to put an amphitheater there, which would be extraordinary for the community.
Real quick, one thing I did not realize about Stone Mountain is that they do not get the benefit of the hotel-motel tax that is at Stone Mountain Park. Do you think the park should be sharing some of that revenue with them, given the burden that the park puts on the city?
I will tell you, as in the legislature, when we made this debate, they do get the hotel-motel taxes of hotels and motels that are not in the park. But the park itself, because it is a state park, there were some additional hoops and some additional cooperation from other legislators that we did not have.
Well, Representative Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us. I do want to point out that Representative Mitchell is up for re-election this fall. He has a Republican opponent. His opponent's name is William Freeman. We did invite William Freeman to join us on a future episode of the Decatur Dish. He declined, but the invitation's still open if he wants to take us up on it. Elections are November 5th this year, November 8th.
First Tuesday in November.
First Tuesday, but I don't know the date. First Tuesday in November. I'll fact check the date. My years get mixed up. Representative Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll join us again soon.
Glad to be here with you. Thank you.
So this is the Decatur Dish Show. We air every Tuesday on Atlanta News First Plus at 12:30. To check us out, you can download the Atlanta News First Plus app. It's free. It's a great way to support us. It's a great way to support our partners at Atlanta News First. To check out all the news on Decaturish, go to Decaturish.com. And if you value what we do, please click on the support link and become a paying subscriber. Your work, your subscriptions go to fund the work that we do. They fund our team, and they keep us providing the local news for free and not behind a paywall. With that, we will see everyone next Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody.